Staying overseas, and a drone attack on Israel is underway from Iran, a response to Israeli strikes on suspected nuclear weapons development sites. The world holding its breath as the crisis escalates.
Moments ago, a loud noise was heard from a part of Tehran. The source of these sounds are still unknown.
Explosions over Tehran, sirens across Jerusalem. Overnight, Israel launched a series of what it called preemptive strikes on multiple Iranian sites, including the capital.
For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
The Israeli PM said the attack was needed to stop Iran's growing nuclear capabilities.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat.
Israel hit nuclear facilities, weapons depots, labs and the homes of senior officials. 6 nuclear scientists are reported dead, as is the Armed Forces Chief of Staff, the former National Security Chief and the head of the Revolutionary Guards.
With this atrocity, the Zionist regime has prepared a bitter and painful fate for itself, and it will undoubtedly receive it.
Iranian state television reporting children were among those killed in the strikes. In the light of day, citizens surveyed the damage, buildings still on fire, others hollowed out. Some partially collapsed. Iran has now closed its airspace and Israel has done the same. A state of emergency declared as the IDF reports it's preparing to intercept 100 retaliatory drones.
It is crucial that you take shelter in the best way possible, whether in your private home or in public space.
The US says it has no involvement in the strikes and warned Iran against retaliating against American forces. Shortly before the attack, Donald Trump was asked this.
Mr. President, how imminent is an Israeli strike on Iran?
Well, I don't want to say imminent, but it looks like it's something that could very well happen.
Australians in this area of the Middle East have been urged to monitor the Smart Traveller website.
We call on all parties to refrain from actions and rhetoric that will further exacerbate tensions.
Heightened tensions now seem inevitable, a nervous world fearing what comes next.
Dr Rodger Shanahan is an ex-army officer now, a Middle East analyst. Roger, the Israeli government says these strikes prevented the imminent development of an Iranian nuclear bomb. Are they right?
Well, there's obviously conflicting evidence here. About 2 months ago, the United States Director of National Intelligence said that there was no indication that Iran was attempting to weaponise their stockpiles and that there was no indication the Supreme Leader had ordered that to occur. The Israelis are saying that there was an imminent threat. So there's obviously a disconnect between the stories being told.
What do you think the motives are for this, though, maybe on either side here? So if potentially there is this Iranian nuclear bomb being developed, how much could these strikes delay that?
Listen, that's one of the issues that tells against these kind of strikes. A kind of kinetic strike that we're seeing at the moment can put back weapons development if that's what's occurring by indeterminate amount of time. But conversely, by doing these attacks, then the Iranians, if they weren't developing weapons prior, will certainly try and do it after, or if they were, they'll just accelerate. And so unless you can guarantee that you destroy the whole thing, then you're only going to guarantee yourself a relatively short period of time.
Around the world, people are watching this unfold, feeling, I imagine, terrified of what could happen. What would it take to de-escalate this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. It's going to take a significant international effort, and we're going to have to hope that the kind of targets that are selected or that are attacked are within the norms. And I suppose we don't want to see any of these types of attacks, but if they can find to military targets or to nuclear officials and scientists attached to that, that may be within the accepted norms. But if we start seeing civilian casualties, then it's very difficult to rein this kind of tit-for-tat in.
Aren't we already seeing civilian casualties?
Yeah, certainly. But if we're talking about significant civilian casualties or civilian casualties that aren't related to immediate family members, perhaps, of targets, and that's one of the difficulties when you start this kind of military operation, that civilians will be killed because you're attacking targets in built-up areas, even if it's only senior government or senior military officials. They live with families in residential areas.
All right, well, Roger, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.